got Natalia and Marius. Welcome so much to Eureka today. We just saw in the clip now that David Hlale doesn't really think it's worthwhile to protect his designs. Natalia, what is your thoughts on that?
It's quite he is correct to a certain degree, because by its very nature the fashion industry is very, very fast paced, and it almost lends itself to copying. When you look at fashion, we look at ideas from the past, people draw from ideas.
It's the biggest form of flattery, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you've got this interaction between innovation and imitation that actually keeps the industry alive, and that's quite unique to the fashion industry. So one has to draw a distinction of, because if something is seasonal, is it really worth protecting it? If it's only going to be out there for 4 months or 6 months, David certainly has a point that it's not really worth investing in it, especially if it's not new and different to what's out there in the industry.
So when would you protect something then, Marius?
I would certainly look at when you certainly have a brand that you want to protect, a logo that you produce your clothing under. If you had very interesting patterns, if it was possible to protect those by means of a registered trademark, those would be sort of the type of things that you'd look at. Certainly things you'd be using on a longer term basis.
Yeah, so really something, the features, if you come up with a design and the features are new and different to what you've seen out there in the industry, then certainly you should look at protecting that as a registered design. So if I could use an example of the Marilyn wrap, which Colleen Artson designed, you could tie this dress in several different ways to create new looks. Now that's a new feature. It's not out there. It's not out there in the industry. You feel it's not going to be seasonal. It's going to be classical. I can make money.
It's not going to date.
Exactly.
It's going to be around for a long time.
And you're going to make money out of this, and you don't want someone making money out of your idea. So it's got a new and different feature to what's out there in the industry.
So if anyone had to copy that, they'd be infringing.
Correct.
Okay, so that brings,
if there was a registered design.
If they registered, but now that opens a big can of worms for counterfeit goods, doesn't it, Marius?
It does. Unfortunately, as Natalia mentioned, registered designs, as important as they are, does not fall under the auspices of the anti-counterfeiting legislation, and so you would need to look at copyright, which you don't need to register to protect, but also your brand and your logo, if that is registered. So if there's a copyright infringement or there's a trademark infringement, you can then certainly look at going under the anti-counterfeiting legislation in South Africa.
But let's say you copy a design. Let's say we copy one of David's designs, but we put it under a different name. We're not infringing.
Look, as I said, in the industry very often someone goes into a store and they see a design and they look at it and they're able to reproduce that design. If there's no registered design protection there, or if it doesn't qualify for registered design protection,
then it's open to anybody.
Then there is what we call reverse engineering, which is quite a technical aspect, but yes, you can copy. If they copied the actual drawing, the design drawing, and you can prove that, that would be copyright infringement. Or there may be aspects of your design that is eligible for protection under copyright. So certain aspects could be protected under copyright by way of example if you don't have a registered design, and in that instance you would have to seek help. But as I said, within the industry you'll often find reverse engineering and people copying fashion to make it affordable, really.
Right, but now if you're a designer and you want to copy something, whether it's just an element of the design or whatever the case may be, what steps do you need to take to make sure that it's not protected and that you can go ahead and copy a certain element of it? Because it happens, like Natalia says.
You're enabling us.
That's a really difficult one, I think. I think you need to know, almost need to know your customer. You need to know who you're dealing with. I think you need to understand what typically is protectable. And that in and of itself can be quite technical. So I think most IP attorneys would say, or brand holders would say, don't copy.
Don't copy at all,
in this industry.
But it happens, like
as
Natalia
I said,
said.
in the industry, you know, you even see it in magazines. You get this beautiful Gucci outfit, how do I replicate it? And they give you 10 different items that you can sort of put together to get the look, for example. So yes, by its very nature, it's a seasonal, fast-paced industry. People do copy. So it's only in very exceptional situations that you'll get something that qualifies for registered design protection. And if it does, sometimes, well, it should carry the design number on the garment, for example. But aspects of it could be protected by copyright. For example, a fabric pattern. could be protected by copyright, and that exists automatically. So you will see that, yes, people won't pursue someone who copies a design because they know in 6 months' time this is off the rack and I'm coming up with something new.
Right.
And that's why I say it is an odd industry in that designers almost accept appropriation of the ideas in the industry to keep it alive in a sense. It's just that kind of industry. But if you feel that you've got something exceptional, that it's new, it's different, you haven't seen something out there, protected by means of a registered design, it's important to realize that you've got 6 months from when you make it public to protect that design. And you can protect certain shapes of things, for example, jewelry or shoes, by means of trademarks even. So you'd need to go see someone on, if you felt this is going to be classical, this is new and different, let me go see someone, look at registered design protection, look at your copyright aspects, and then also it could qualify for trademark protection. So you see that trademarks and registered design protection actually lend themselves well to affording some degree of protection.
But then is it worthwhile to protect your design, like you said, if it's something unique, and then the brand together, and then you protect it? Because
I think it certainly is. Certainly the brand, because the one thing that is usually permanent about any
is the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that is a long-term asset that you need to protect.
Right. Marius, Natalia, thank you so much for joining us today on Eureka.
My pleasure.
Pleasure.